All right, so you've all sent in a ton about techniques for finishing notebook covers this time.
A lot of material.
Yeah, so we're going to deep dive into it. We're going to go beyond just like, what is this? And more into like, what does it mean to choose one or the other?
Yeah, like, I mean, we've got everything from like embossing, debossing, you know, foil stamping, lamination, all the way to more kind of, I guess, niche things like textured printing and die cut finishing, even embroidery and oil varnish coating.
Wow, that's, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
But one thing I think is pretty clear already is that picking a finish for a notebook cover is, it's not just like making it pretty.
Right, right.
It's a choice.
It's a statement.
Yeah.
It says
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. And I guess like the cover is the first thing you see when you look at a notebook.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's the first thing you see, and it's also usually the first thing you touch.
Right.
So it kind of sets the tone for the whole experience, right?
Totally. Totally.
It tells you about the brand, it tells you about the quality,
Yeah.
and it even tells you who the notebook is for, like who they had in mind when they made it.
For sure.
Like you can tell a lot just from that first impression.
Absolutely. So let's get down to it, huh?
Okay, that's good.
What about embossing and debossing? I think those are two that a lot of people maybe have heard of, but might not like know exactly what it means.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So imagine you're creating a 3D effect,
Yeah.
right, on the cover.
Okay.
So with embossing, the design, it's raised, like it pops out and you can actually feel it.
Yeah.
But with debossing, it's the opposite. It's pressed inward, so it creates like a little indentation.
Okay.
And both of those techniques they use these custom muddle dies, a
Yeah.
lot of pressure to, to get that tactile, that real physical effect.
So it's really about like how it feels more than
Yeah, you're adding a whole other dimension.
right.
Instead of just being flat, you can actually feel it.
That's pretty cool. So what are the big, I guess, the advantages of doing that?
Well, the main thing is that it makes the notebook feel really high quality.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it feels more handcrafted.
Right.
Like someone put extra care into it.
Yeah.
And that really reinforces the brand's identity. It's like they care about the details.
Okay.
And, when you touch it, when you feel it, it just it makes it more memorable.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that.
It sticks with you.
I get that. Okay, so where do you see this being used a lot? Like what kind of notebooks usually have that?
Well, you see it a lot on like fancy corporate notebooks.
Okay.
The kind they give out at like big conferences and stuff.
Yeah.
And also, like limited edition journals, the kind of that are like really special, like
Yeah.
for a specific group of people.
Right. Right.
Or maybe like really nice stationery sets.
Yeah.
And they often use it for logos or like monograms,
Yeah.
just at a touch of class.
Right. It's subtle, but it does, yeah, it does make it feel fancier.
Exactly. Exactly.
And what kind of covers, like, can you do this on?
It works best on materials that have some thickness to them,
Yeah.
So like PU leather
Yeah.
or craft board, that
Hmm.
thick kind of cardboard.
Okay.
And even cloth bindings
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Or like thick matte laminated covers. The key is that the material needs to be able to hold the impression.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it stays 3D.
Gotcha.
It doesn't just flatten out.
So what about I saw in here that there's a like a tip, an expert tip about embossing and debossing, something about like when to use which one.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So basically, if you want something to really stand out, like really grab attention,
Yeah.
then you use embossing
Okay.
because it pops out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But if you want something more subtle,
Yeah.
more sophisticated,
Okay.
then you go with debossing.
So it's like one's like shouting and one's like whispering.
Exactly, exactly. One's bold, one's understated.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. I like that. Okay. So foil stamping, right?
Right.
That's one that I think everyone kind of they see it and they think fancy.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely got that premium feel to it.
Right, right.
So basically, it's like you're using heat and pressure to apply a really, really thin layer of metallic or pigmented film
Okay.
onto the cover.
So it's not like ink.
No, it's a separate thing.
It's like a sticker almost, or
Kind of, yeah. But it's fused on there, so it's really durable.
okay.
And it creates this really shiny, reflective finish that you just can't get with ink.
So that's how they get it so shiny. It's like
It's the foil, yeah.
the foil. It catches the light.
Okay, cool. And what are the big advantages of foil stamping?
Well, the first thing is it definitely makes a notebook look more expensive,
Okay. Yeah.
even if it isn't, you
Yeah.
know? It just has that luxurious feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, it can create some really cool contrast.
Okay. Especially if you have a dark cover or like a matte cover,
Yeah, yeah.
the foil really pops.
I get
And
it.
the other thing is, there's a ton of different finishes you can get.
Like beyond just gold and silver.
Oh yeah, way beyond.
Okay.
Like there's copper, there's holographic foil, there's matte foil.
Wow, that's cool.
You can even get custom colors made.
Wow, that's wild. So where would you usually see foil stamping used? Like what kind of notebooks is that good for?
So like premium diaries, the kind that people really treasure.
Right.
And also gift editions of books, the ones that come in those fancy boxes.
Okay.
And wedding planners, of course. Got to have that extra sparkle.
Right.
And then, high-end promotional items, the kind that companies give out to like VIP clients.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's all about making a statement.
Okay, cool. And what kind of covers does foil stamping work best on?
It needs a smooth surface.
Mm-hmm.
So like laminated covers are perfect.
Okay.
And PU leather works really well too.
Yeah.
And there's this paper called velvet touch paper.
Oh, I like that stuff.
Oh yeah, it's so nice.
It's really, really soft.
And the foil looks amazing on it.
Okay, so I also saw another tip about foil stamping, something about like a sustainable option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's biodegradable foil now.
Really?
Yeah, which is great.
That's really cool. So you can still have that like premium look,
Exactly.
but it's,
But it's eco-friendly.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good option for brands that are, conscious of their impact.
Awesome. Okay. So lamination, that's one that I think a lot of people are familiar with.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more common ones.
Right, right. I guess it's more practical.
It is, yeah, but it can also be, it can look nice too.
Yeah, yeah.
And it can feel nice too.
Right, right.
So basically, it's like you're applying a thin, clear film over the cover.
Yeah.
And it's mainly for protection, right?
Okay.
It also has some other benefits.
Okay, cool. So what are the main, I guess, types of lamination?
Well, the most common ones are matte, glossy, and then there's soft touch.
Yeah, soft touch is nice.
It's really nice. It's got that like velvety feel.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people do. So yeah, those are the main ones.
Okay, so why would you choose to laminate a notebook cover?
The big thing is durability. It just makes it last longer.
Yeah. Okay.
So like if you're carrying it around in your bag every day,
yeah.
it's not gonna get all scratched up.
Right.
And it protects against fingerprints too.
That's good.
Yeah, because nobody wants a smudgy notebook.
Yeah.
And it even helps a bit with moisture resistance.
Oh, there.
Like if you spill something on it, it's less likely to like soak in and ruin the cover.
That makes sense. Okay.
And then depending on the type of lamination, it can also it can enhance the texture.
Okay.
So like soft touch lamination, that obviously adds that soft feel.
Yeah.
And glossy lamination can make the colors look more vibrant. Yeah, it kind of makes them pop a bit more.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a subtle thing, but it can make a difference.
Cool. Cool. So, what kind of notebooks usually have lamination?
So anything that's going to get a lot of use,
Yeah.
like planners, the kind you carry around and write in every day.
Yeah.
And also educational materials like textbooks and workbooks.
Okay.
Those definitely need to be durable.
Yeah.
And sometimes even catalogs and brochures, the kind that
Yeah.
people can be flipping through a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you often see lamination combined with like CMYK printing.
Okay.
It's just like the standard 4-color printing process.
Right.
And sometimes they also use spot UV varnish.
Okay. And that's where they like make certain parts glossy.
Exactly, yeah. It's like
Okay.
they highlight certain areas.
Gotcha. So what kind of covers is lamination good for?
It works on pretty much any paper-based cover. So like cardstock, that thicker kind of paper.
Yeah.
And anything that's been printed with CMYK.
Okay.
Basically, as long as the surface is smooth, the film will adhere to it.
Gotcha. And there's also a tip about lamination, right? Like combining it with something.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of people like to combine matte lamination with either spot UV varnish or foil stamping.
Oh.
Because matte lamination, it's sophisticated. It's not too shiny.
Right.
But then you can add a bit of shine with the spot UV or the foil.
I see. So it's like the best of both worlds.
Exactly, yeah. You get the nice subtle matte finish, but then you can highlight certain areas and make them stand out.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so textured printing. This one's a little different.
It is, yeah. It's more about like adding dimension without actually adding a physical layer.
Okay, so how does that work?
So basically, they use special varnishes or rollers
Okay.
that create like these tiny bumps and ridges on the surface.
Oh, okay.
So it mimics the feel of other materials like linen or wood grain or even stone.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a really interesting way to add some texture.
So, what are the advantages of doing that?
Well, the main thing is it just makes the notebook more interesting to touch.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
adds a sensory experience.
Right, right.
And it's also really good for minimalist designs
Okay.
or eco-conscious designs where you don't want to use a lot of colors or a glossy finish.
Right.
So it's like a subtle way to add some interest.
So it's not in your face.
Exactly, yeah. It's more subtle, more understated.
Okay, cool. And where do you see this being used a lot?
So art journals,
Mm.
for sure,
Okay.
because, artists are all about texture.
Right.
And then sustainable stationery brands often use it
Okay.
because it evokes a sense of natural materials.
Yeah, I see.
And designer notebooks sometimes use it too.
Okay.
It's to add like a bit of a unique touch.
So it's all about that like tactile
Yeah.
feeling.
Exactly.
Okay. So, what kind of covers can you do textured printing on?
It works best on uncoated paper because the texture is more noticeable on a smooth surface.
Right. Yeah.
And craft paper is another good option because
Okay.
it already has a bit of texture to it.
Right. Yeah.
And you can even do it on matte laminated covers sometimes.
Ah, okay.
But there's a tip about textured printing.
Yeah, what's that?
It's important to use it strategically
Okay.
because too much texture can be overwhelming.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if the texture doesn't match the design, it can look weird.
Right. So it's like you got to be careful with it.
Exactly, yeah. You got to use it with intention.
Yeah. Okay. That makes
Okay.
sense. So, die cut finishing. This one sounds kind of cool.
It is, yeah. It's basically like you're cutting shapes into the cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's not just about the surface. It's about the actual shape of the cover.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. So how do they do that?
They use these steel dies,
Okay.
which are kind of like cookie cutters, but way more heavy duty.
Right.
And they cut through the cover material. So you can create like windows or shapes or whatever you want.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's pretty versatile.
So, why would you, why would you choose to do that?
Well, it lets you get really creative with the shape of the cover.
Okay.
So you can make it stand out,
Yeah.
And it can also create some cool visual effects.
Like what?
Like you can have the cutout reveal something on the inside cover.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like a little surprise.
Yeah, I like that.
Or you can use it to highlight certain parts of the design.
Okay, cool.
Uh-huh.
And where do you see this being used?
So children's notebooks often use it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
they might have a die-cut shape of an animal or something.
Right, right.
And also seasonal promotions sometimes use it.
Yeah.
Like they might have a die-cut snowflake for a winter promotion or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then brand storytelling projects sometimes use it too.
Okay.
Just to like add a unique element to the design.
Cool, cool. So what kind of materials is die cutting good for?
So paperboard is good
Okay.
because it's sturdy.
Right.
And craft paper works well too.
Okay.
And even laminated covers, as long as the lamination is really well adhered.
Gotcha.
Basically, it needs to be a material that can hold its shape after it's been cut.
Yeah. Okay. And there's a tip about die cutting.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So if you're doing die cutting,
Yeah.
it's a good idea to also have some cool printing on the inside cover
Oh.
or like colored end papers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then when you open the notebook, it's like there's another layer of
Yeah.
detail.
Right. So it's like a double surprise.
Exactly.
I like that. Okay. So embroidery. This one's a little unexpected.
It is, yeah. It's not something you see on notebooks every day.
Right. Right. So tell me about it.
So basically, it's like you're stitching thread directly into the cover.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's actually embroidery, like you'd see on
Hmm.
clothes. And you can do it on fabric covers or on PU leather covers.
Okay.
And you can create like logos or patterns or monograms.
So it's really like a craft.
It is, yeah. It's very tactile,
Yeah.
very handcrafted.
Cool. So what are the advantages of doing that?
Well, the main thing is that it feels really unique
Yeah.
and authentic. Like
Mhm.
it's not something that's mass produced.
Right. Right.
And it's really durable too.
Okay.
Like embroidery lasts a long time.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And it's a good option for brands that want to like really stand out.
Okay, so where do you see this being used?
So like boutique brands.
Okay.
The kind that are all about like handmade artisanal goods.
Right, right.
And fashion brands sometimes use it too.
There.
Like if they're doing a collaboration with a notebook company or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you also see it on like gift sets sometimes. It's
Yeah.
where they want to add that extra touch of luxury.
Yeah.
And it works best on materials like canvas, cotton, linen, and PU leather.
Oh, okay.
Basically anything that's soft enough to stitch through.
Right, right. And there's a tip about embroidery too, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So if you're going to do embroidery,
Yeah.
you got to think about the thread color.
Okay.
If you want it to really pop, use a contrasting color.
Okay.
But if you want something more subtle, you can use a tone-on-tone color.
Yeah, I get it.
So it's like you can either make a statement or you can keep it understated.
Right, right. Okay, cool. So last one, oil varnish coating. This one sounds a little more, I don't know, traditional?
It is, yeah. It's a more classic way of finishing a cover.
Okay, so tell me about it.
So it's basically it's a clear liquid coating
Okay.
that they apply after the printing is done.
Right.
And it can be either semi-gloss or matte.
Okay.
And it's more subtle than lamination or foil stamping.
So it's not like a huge change.
It's more about like enhancing the existing design.
Yeah. Okay, so what are the advantages of using oil varnish?
Well, it makes the colors look richer,
Okay.
and it also adds a bit of protection to the cover.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's pretty cost effective too,
Okay.
especially if you're doing a large print run.
Right.
And it's a bit more eco-friendly than lamination because it doesn't use plastic.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So it's a good option if you're, trying to be sustainable.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So where do you usually see this being used?
So like editorial style notebooks,
Right.
the kind that have that like really nice paper feel,
Right.
and also promotional giveaways where budget is a big factor.
Yeah.
And eco-conscious brands sometimes use it too,
Okay.
because it's a more natural option.
Right, right. And what kind of covers does it work best on?
Uncoated paper is ideal,
Okay.
or lightly coated paper,
Right.
and especially surfaces that have been printed with CMYK or screen printing,
Okay.
because it helps to seal the ink.
Right, right. And I think there's one more tip about oil varnish.
Yeah, so it's a good alternative to lamination if you want to enhance the look of the print,
Yeah.
but you don't want to add too much thickness
Oh, wait.
or change the feel of the paper too much.
Right, right. It's more subtle.
Exactly, yeah.
So, wow, that's a lot of different finishing techniques.
It is, yeah. There's a lot to choose from.
Yeah. I mean, it really shows that there's a lot more to a notebook cover than just, what's printed on it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like the finish really makes a difference.
It does, yeah. It's a big part of the overall design.
And it really makes it clear that choosing a finish, it's a decision,
No, yeah, it's definitely not just an afterthought.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a strategic choice.
Right, right.
Like, you really have to think about what you're trying to achieve with the finish.
Okay, so can you talk a little bit more about that? Like, what are the things you have to consider?
Sure, yeah. So first of all, you have to think about the brand's positioning.
Okay.
Like, is it a luxury brand, or is it more of an everyday brand?
Right.
Is it aimed at students
Yeah.
or professionals?
Right, right.
And then you have to think about the target audience. Like,
Yeah.
who are you trying to appeal to?
Yeah.
What do they value?
Right.
And then, of course, you have to think about the practical stuff. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of material is the cover made of?
Okay.
How is the notebook going to be used?
Right, right.
Is it going to be carried around in a bag?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be sitting on a desk?
Right.
And then, of course, there's budget
Yeah, always budget.
and production volume.
Right, right.
So it's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of amazing how much goes into it.
It is, yeah. But it's important
Yeah.
because the finish really does affect how people perceive the notebook.
Yeah, and how they perceive the brand, right?
Exactly, yeah. It's all part of the brand experience.
So it's not just about making it pretty.
No, it's about communicating something.
Right, right.
It's about creating a feeling.
Yeah, I get that. Wow, this has been really eye-opening.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought about all the different factors that go into choosing a notebook cover finish.
Easy to overlook, yeah.
But it's clearly really important.
It is, yeah. It's a detail that makes a big difference.
So I guess like the takeaway here is that we should all pay more attention to the finishes on the things around us.
Absolutely.
Because they're not just there for decoration,
Right.
they're actually communicating something.
Exactly, yeah. They're telling us a story.
Yeah, it's like a whole secret language.
Kind of, yeah.
That's really cool. Well, thanks for Thanks for taking this deep dive with me.
My pleasure, yeah. It's been fun.
It really has. I've learned a lot.
Me too.
So, I guess that's it for this episode.
Yeah, I think we covered it all.
Yeah, we really did. So, thanks again,
No problem.
and we'll see you next time.
See you then.
Bye.